Good morning, Starshines. My name is DH, my pronouns are they, them, and this is the Cozycast, episode 7. Today is Wednesday, May 22nd, and I am coming to you from the center of the sun. It is so warm in here. Let's check. 84 degrees. 84 degrees. And I'm sitting directly in the sun. So there's a fan right here that you can see. It's not on for audio quality because I love you. And that is the only reason that the fan is not on right now. It's hot. So let's get into it. Let's start with the projects. All right, the projects. I have 2 finishes this week. Well, 1 finish and 1 sort of finish. So the finish, if you guys tuned into the live stream, not this past Monday, but the Monday before that, I was doing a pattern design stream where I worked on a pattern idea that Toot had, and I thought it was super cute, so I wanted to work it up. And I couldn't get the idea out of my head, so I designed it mostly on stream on Monday, polished it up the next day, and immediately started stitching. Made some adjustments to the pattern based on the stitching, released it for sale this past Wednesday, and here it is. This is not quite finished. All right, we're gonna try it like this because the lighting in that corner was terrible, even though I really like this rainbow effect that I'm getting from the windows. We put a cling film on the windows that provides like it's basically like a giant sheet of refracty stuff, so we get rainbows everywhere, which you can see on my sweaty forehead. Okay, so this is In a Sea of Doozers, Be a Moki. It's got some cute little lettering. It's got some radishes. Moki's primary job on Fraggle Rock is to collect the radishes from the Gork's garden. But yeah, there it is. It's super cute. It's really tiny. It'll fit really nicely in a 6-inch hoop, which is what I'm planning on mounting it eventually. I designed it specifically to be that kind of circular text type deal. Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So this pattern is available for sale on the Etsy and the coffee shop. And I'll talk more about the coffee shop later on in the video. But yeah, it was a really quick stitch. I used, this is an 18 count oatmeal Aida, Loops and Threads brand. I really enjoyed working on the 18 count. I'm really liking working on the high counts, and I'm looking forward to trying some more of it. I find that the stitches get so like small and precise. I know that's not in any way focusing, but I just love the coverage that I get with two strands over 1 on 18 count. Okay, my second finish, which isn't really a finish, but it's sort of a finish. The Deadly Aquarium Stitch Along from Lola Crow. I finished the frame. So the second clue is coming out. Today is Wednesday, and you're seeing this on Friday, so the second clue has already come out. The first clue. The first exhibit is coming out Friday, May 24th, which is the day you're watching this, hopefully. So I finished the frame of the Stitch Along about a week ago, and I've just been riding that high since then. So I haven't bothered ironing it or anything. I will also put up a picture because I'm sure this is going to be hard to see. But here is the whole frame. It's looking lovely. I'm so happy with it. Oh, I'm so happy with it. And I'm so excited to see what the exhibits are going to be. So first thing Friday this morning, future past. First thing Friday morning, I am going to be downloading that and stitching right away on this. So I am so excited for that. But this is the Deadly Aquarium by Lola Crow. It is a mystery stitch along, so we all got this frame 6 weeks ago, and there are 13 exhibits that are going to be inside the aquarium, releasing each week from now until the middle of August, with a couple of breaks in between. So yeah, I'm very excited. I know that there's going to be a vampire squid and a pufferfish. I don't know what else is going to be in the aquarium. There is a spot on the piece that looks like something broke out of the aquarium. I'm really excited to see what that is. So, yeah, those are my two finishes. The frame took me about 4.5 weeks to do. It was 6,000 stitches, and I have a lot of stitching time, and I hyper focused on it for a few days. So that was good. I'm really excited. I'm doing it along with my friend Moonface, who has also finished their frame. So yay, we are both starting on the exhibits as soon as they come out, which is so exciting. But that's why it's kind of a finish, but not really a finish. It is the part that I can do is finished, but the entire piece won't be finished until August. So as of Friday, today, in 2 days, it'll be back on the whip rotation. And in the meantime, let me show you what whips I've been working on since then. So I've had 2 of my existing whips that I've been working on, and then a few new starts. So we're going to talk about new starts as well. You guys might remember Kyrie and Sora. This is what the piece is going to look like. This is what it looked like last time I showed you. And this is what it looks like now. Not much different. I haven't done a ton of work on this. So the person that I'm giving this to, their birthday is in August. I kind of want to get it done for around then, but we've had a policy since we were kids that we don't give each other gifts on a schedule. We just kind of give each other stuff whenever we want to give each other stuff, and it's worked out really well for us. So we don't do Christmas or birthday gifts. We just do a random I'm thinking of you gift. But if I could get it done for their birthday is in August and their anniversary is in September, so one of the 2 dates around then would be nice. I have about 6,000 stitches left to go. I just hit 50% on this, and I'm really excited. So this is the bottom corner. You can see that we've got some trees going in here, and then this is going to be the edge of the sort of grassy ground cutaway. And then up in the corner here, you can see the bottom of the tree. I have completely finished Kyrie and Sora, so it's really just the background landscape that I'm working on now. So yeah, I'm loving this. It's a 14 count blue Ada. Got it from Amazon, so I think the brand name is Dawn Man. Dawn Man. Dun, 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 dun. And the pattern is from Needleminder Lair on Etsy. So this one might not get as much love once Deadly Aquarium comes back into the rotation, because I'm kind of picking at it here and there. I have this problem where every time I pick up a project, I'm like, oh, I super enjoy this project and I really want to work on it more. But this happens every single time I pick up a project. So I just keep bouncing from project to project without really getting anything done. So this one I want to get more done. I just started in on the greens. You can barely see them there. And I really love this one. It's really cool. I love seeing how the shading comes together. It's surprisingly few colors for how much shading there is, and how detailed the picture is. So definitely check out Needleminder Lair on Etsy. They have a few different of these like pixel cutaway type deals. Mainly for Final Fantasy, but very cool. The other whip I've been working on that came out of hibernation into rotation, is one that I absolutely adore and will probably stay in rotation even after Deadly Aquarium comes back. And that is, I call it Celtic Goddess. The name of the pattern is Celtic Priestess. The name of the PDF is Celtic Witch. So it's Celtic Woman of Power, some kind, by Raven Stitchcraft. Here's what it looks like. Here is what it looked like last time I saw you guys. And here is what it looks like now. So I have done quite a bit. I finished, so I was working in like strips of 7x2 blocks, like a 10 by 10 block, so a 7 by 2 block, and completely filling in everything there. And then I did her eye, and I was like, oh my god, it's her eye. Like, I can actually see her face coming together. So I just went and finished doing the rest of her skin there. And I'm going to fill in the rest of the details on her face before moving on to the hair and the Celtic braid around. I did make a lot of modifications to this pattern. It is a perfectly rectangular pattern, but as you can see, I have curved the top of it. I'm not doing the Celtic knots in the top corners. As well, I've completely changed the color scheme. It was originally done all in grays, and I have moved it to this like warm brown palette. As well, it was full coverage. I'm using this like dark blue Space Ada. So instead of doing the darkest color, which on the pattern was black 310, I am leaving those stitches blank so that you can see the Space Ada coming through. So I think she looks amazing. I am so happy. I really want to get this finished. This pattern is Raven Stitchcraft. By the way, Raven Stitchcraft, if you go to their website, she offers a free pattern, I think weekly or monthly. And right now it's the really cute little Pride Ghost, so go check that out. I'll leave a link below. I love Raven Stitchcraft. They do a ton of really cool woodcut patterns. Yeah, just a ton of really cool stuff. So they just released a pattern called Hocus Octopus that I need in my life. It has zoomed to the top of my queue along with the Nostalgic Tarot from Witchy Stitcher. So yeah, I definitely need those guys. But yeah, this is my Celtic goddess, Celtic priestess, Celtic witch. She's so beautiful. I love her. Ah, happy. So those are my two whips that I had before, and I've been working on those in addition to a couple of new starts. So technically Moki was a new start as well, but I also finished her. So I've just been starting a bunch of stuff lately, unfortunately. Sorry about that. I just had to take a break to turn the fan back on and cool down a little bit so I could continue talking to all you lovely people. So let's move on to new starts, because I have 4 new starts. I have ADHD, not self-control. I don't know what you want from me. So cross-stitch new starts as well as knitting new starts. If you haven't watched last Wednesday's video on knitting science, you should go check that one out. But basically I have found a way that makes knitting a lot more comfortable for me, and that I can do it for more than 5 minutes at a time. So I have been trying to do that. And I started a couple of new things, and I'll explain why I started new things instead of going back to whips. But first let's talk about the cross stitch. Let's finish up the cross stitch. So the first new start I did is another one of my patterns. As soon as I finish him, he will be up in the Etsy in the coffee shop. So I'm hoping to finish him in the next couple of days. He's got about 700 stitches left to go. But say hello to Cozy Bob. So Cozy Bob here. In our house, all skeletons are named Bob, obviously, as you do. So Cozy Bob here has a green toque. He is sipping a hot drink, and he's got a lovely woolly sweater on. So I just need to fill in the drink and fill in the sweater and finish the outline on the sweater, and then he's all finished. I'm really proud of this guy. So I've said this before in the live streams. I don't know if I've mentioned it in the videos. I'm not artistically talented. And by this I mean that I have no innate talent for art. However, I believe art is also a skill that you can work on and develop, which I've been trying to do with my pattern designing. I want to branch out from doing one-to-one pixel art or small pixel art like my Valorant and Clove minis, and do more artistic things. Like, it's hard because I kind of have an idea in my head of what I consider an art piece, This I consider an art piece that I then translated into stitching. Whereas Clove and Brimstone and Neon, those were always stitching pieces from the beginning. So I'm trying a few different styles and that kind of thing. And I'm really proud of Bob because he looks good. Like, I did this from scratch. Look at that. It looks like a skeleton drinking a coffee. I'm so happy with him. I love him. So Cozy Bob is going to have a counterpart Sweaty Bob at some point. Just say a similar Bob, but you know, wearing the snapback and the tank top and with an iced coffee as a good summer queer does. So stay tuned for more Bobs. I love him. I'm so proud of him. And he is stitching up just like exactly the way that I imagined. So yes, love. He should be done in the next couple of days. Keep an eye on the Instagram. I'm trying to post more on Instagram when I update the shop and things like that. I was worried about spamming, but like, honestly, what is Instagram for but spamming cool stuff you're working on? So there we go. The next new start I have, also, I said it was 84 degrees in here. It's now 86 degrees in here. 87. I'm not built for this heat. The next little start I have is just a little tiny start. So a couple of days ago on Monday's live stream, we were spinning the Wheel of Whips, and one of the options was a new start. So he came up, and I actually didn't work on him at all since then. So this is the start. It's not very big. It's still green. But this is Detective Todeschi by Mama Witch Cross Stitch. Here, I'll put in a picture of Detective Todeschi. He's part of a series of like, not really cameos, but portraits of animals. I'm also going to do Dr. Crow, and Toot is going to do Dilo Shade, and we're going to put them all up together. I'm just using 14 count black Aida, again from Amazon. This Aida, it's slightly skewed. I don't know how well you can see it. I'm going to put it in front of the light, but you can see that it's slightly warped. It's the same piece that I did for Croissant, and they stitched up just fine, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. But yeah, Detective Todeschi is also going to get some love in between other stuff, but I just wanted a cute little stitch. He's about 5,000 stitches, so kind of a medium-sized one, because he's small, but it's full coverage within the partial... It's full coverage within the confines of the oval in which he is in. There are no blank stitches inside the actual portrait. We are huge Mama Witch cross-stitch fans in this house. So definitely check them out again on Etsy and Instagram. I'm going to leave links to all the designers that I've mentioned today in the description of this video. But yeah, you can kind of see where my vibes are at. So I have in front of me the stack. I prefer using Q-snaps. However, I have two 8-inch Q-snaps, one 6-inch Q-snap, and one 12-inch Q-snap. The 12-inch is too large for me to use comfortably, and the 6-inch, it's too small for me to use comfortably, really, because like the stitching area isn't bad, but because the bars are the same size as the 8-inch, it just feels like there's a lot of bar compared to how much area you actually have to stitch. So I prefer the 8-inch, but I only have two of them, which is why Celtic Goddess is in a hoop, even though I would rather her be in a Q-snap. I just don't have many Q-snaps, and also I don't like moving things in and out of Q-snaps, so if they're in the whip rotation, they are in a hoop or a Q-snap, so I can just pick them up and stitch. I don't have to fuss with fabric. So that is all of the cross-stitch content. And now let me move on to my new knitting starts. First, we hydrate. All right, knitting. So in my video on last Wednesday, I talked about how I'm experiencing pain and hand tremors and fatigue when I knit using certain knitting methods. And I found that through the course of that video and doing my science experiments, that knitting flat using straight needles is the most comfortable for me, which is great. However, every project I was working on was not knitting flat using straight needles. So I had to make some decisions because I had 13 knitting whips. I'm not frogging them. I'm just not working on them until my hands improve. If it comes to it and it looks like my hands aren't going to improve, I will figure out some way to knit them flat. The only one that I did frog was the Usagi pullover. I think I mentioned it in the last podcast. The Usagi pullover I was working on for a friend. I hadn't gotten very far. And that was kind of my tester for working straight, and I found that it was quite comfortable for me. So the Usagi pullover is the only one of my old whips that I am still working on. The other ones have been packed up. I am not looking at them for now. I'm not letting them stress me out. I'm not feeling guilty about the fact that they exist. I'm kind of starting fresh. So in that vein, I started a new pullover for myself. Not a pullover, a cardigan. I started a cardigan for myself. I have the pullover for my friend. And then one thing that I really wanted to try was knitting socks, because I've mentioned it many times. I love knitting socks for myself. I love knitting socks for my family. Knitting socks is usually done in the round, and in the course of the science knitting video, I was in so much pain from using the DPNs, and every time I would go down to a needle size for knitting socks, my hands would shake violently. It was really uncomfortable. It sucked, honestly. So I am trying to knit socks flat. So let's talk about the first new cast on, and that is the first new knitting cast on, and that is what I'm calling my crayon box cardigan. This is my own design because I couldn't really find something that I really wanted, and I was a little bit limited in the needles that I had on hand. I have since purchased more straight needles, just kind of cheap Amazon ones to test stuff out, but let me show you what I've got so far. So what I had was, if you had seen any of my content before, you know I was working on the Straya cardigan by Andrea Mowry, except instead of having a neutral as the main and colored stripes, I was having colored stripes as the main with a neutral stripe. So I frogged that. So when I said I didn't frog anything, I lied. I frogged that because I hadn't gotten very far. And what I'm doing is I'm doing kind of a similar shape, but as a pieced cardigan. So the Straya is done in the round in one piece as a raglan. However, straight needles are 14 inches long. I am not 14 inches wide. I am 60 inches wide. So if I were to do an entire cardigan all the way around, I would find it incredibly uncomfortable to do it on straight needles. So instead I am piecing it. So I'm doing the back is one piece, the right front is one piece, the left front is one piece, the sleeve is one piece, and the other sleeve is one piece, and then sewing them together. And that's just going to be the most comfortable way for me to knit. It does mean more sewing in the end, but I will take that to have a knitted garment for myself. So what I did was a lot of color management. I had 13 colors of Hobby Amigo in which is a DK weight acrylic yarn from Hobby. It's my go-to sweater yarn. Actually, let me show you a couple things that I've made in Hobby, mostly for other people, and by other people I mean Toot. So enjoy. That's probably long enough. So what I did was, because sleeves are usually a third of a piece, the front is a third of the piece and the back is a third of the piece. So I took each color and I divided it into 5 balls. One for the front, one for the other front, one for the sleeve, one for the sleeve, one for the back. So the one for the back is twice the size of the other balls. I did this for all 13 colors, and then I wound it up into a magic ball, basically. So you can see that this ball, it's going through the gradient, through the blues, the greens, and into even the yellows you can see there. And then that way I don't have to do any yarn management throughout the course of knitting this. I just knit it. It might not match up at the seams. That's okay. It's going to be close enough. So what I am doing is, I'll show you. I started on the right front. So this is the top. This will be the collar. I am going to use white for like a long button band collar type deal. So this is going to be the top. This is going to be the shoulder seam. And then it comes down, slopes down to its fullest width. I am doing this in Fisherman's Rib, which is a brioche stitch. So basically the right side of it is this lovely, oh, look at that texture. It's so squishy, it's so squashy. Look at it, it's beautiful. I'm so excited. So you can see I started with the purples, moved into the gray, I'm moving into this light blue now, and it'll run the entire rainbow of my scrap colors all the way through red, basically. I haven't done a lot on this. I've been just kind of working on it a little bit here and there. But I'm really, really happy with the way that it's working up and how easily I'm able to knit it. So this is going to be kind of like just a boxy style cardigan. It's going to have a long white button band. There's going to be big pockets. And yeah, that's the plan. I don't have any plans on finishing this anytime soon. This is kind of a when I feel like working on it project. But I'm really, really happy with it. And I'm happy that I did all the yarn management up top, so that I don't have to keep notes, track notes, measure things as I go, weigh things as I go. I did it all in one go. It's all done. It took like literally 2 days. 2 days of doing nothing else but winding yarn and measuring yarn and cutting yarn and tying yarn, and it took 2 days. But I'm really happy with it. So this is the crayon box cardigan. There you go. Beautiful. And I will keep updating you guys as I work on it. So again, the yarn is Hobby Amigo, which is a DK weight acrylic yarn. I am using 4.5 millimeter needles. And then, so that was going really, really well. And I didn't have any straight needles smaller than a 3 millimeter. And my 3 millimeter needles, I inherited from my great grandmother. They're blunt, they're bent, they're not actually great for knitting with, but I'm never ever going to get rid of them. But they weren't quite small enough for sock knitting. So I went on Amazon and I did pick up a set of knitting needles. So if you're buying needles on Amazon, I don't actually recommend it, because if you want quality knitting needles, you're going to pay more than you would from somewhere like Wool Warehouse or Knit Picks. If you want cheap knitting needles, you can only buy them in like sets of 11. So I just went ahead and bought the cheap ones, which is good because now I have like every single size of straight needle in order for me to experiment with, including 2.25 millimeter, which is my preferred sock knitting size. So you may be saying, socks are a tube. How are you doing this? I'm knitting them flat and then I'm seaming them down the side. I read a couple of tutorials, actually read a book called Knit Your Socks Flat. I borrowed it from the library. And basically it's knit a pretty standard sock. The seam is down the side of the sock and then along the top of the gusset, and then down to the toe. The author of the book actually recommends doing a crochet slip stitch instead of a mattress stitch, says it gives more elasticity. Since there's two socks, I'm going to try two different methods. One I'm going to do with the slip stitch, one I'm going to do with mattress stitch, and just see how the two socks kind of compare in terms of wear, because if this works out, I'm going to be knitting myself many more socks flat. So this is what I've got so far. This is a 72 stitch sock. The yarn is again a hobby. This is Silly Socks in the color Witty Joker. I cast on 74. And the reason I cast on 74 is because that gives me one stitch on each side for this slip stitch selvage. I don't know how well that's gonna show up. But I did a one stitch slip stitch selvage, which basically means I slip the first stitch of every row. And that makes it easier to seam at the end because it gives it a nice clean edge to seam together. So I've done about 4 inches of the leg. I usually do about 6 inches, so I'm going to do 2 more inches. Again, I really want to get these done because they're more science. Because if I can make this work, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to be so happy. I am working on writing up my sock formula, because I've kind of cribbed together my standard sock pattern from a bunch of different sources. It would be nice to have it all written down in one spot. And then if I can get my act together, I will offer it as a freebie on the coffee shop. Just for people who are interested, because it's a pretty standard vanilla sock. Just the way that I do it, my proportions and things like that might be a little bit different. It might be good as a reference for some people. So I'm so happy about this because I was experiencing so much pain, fatigue, and tremors when I was trying to knit socks. I could only knit for about 5-10 minutes at a time, and I would need a very long break afterwards. It was pretty upsetting. But I can knit for an hour at a time. I could probably knit for longer, but I always take a break after an hour to at least like get up and stretch and do something else with the straight needles. So these aren't the world's best straight needles. I'm a little bit worried that they're going to snap on me. If this does work out, I might see if I can get my hands on some Knitter's Pride straights. Those are my favorite straight needles in the 2.25 millimeter, but we'll see. We'll see. Right now, I'm happy with these for the science of it all. So yeah, so these are my Witty Joker trial socks, and I will keep you guys posted. So that is it. I have been talking for half an hour about the stuff I've been working on. Wow. All right, everybody, take a break, go grab something to drink, stand up, stretch. I will see you in a minute. All right, friends, welcome back. How are you feeling? Feeling okay? All right. It's time for the chronic illness update. A lot has been happening for Toot and I the last couple of weeks. A lot. So, yes. I like, so much has happened that I don't even really know where to start. We've had this combination of hot, humid weather with the AC still hasn't been turned on in our unit, as evidenced by the fact that it is 86 degrees in my enclosure. So this just kind of leads to us really not being able to function quite well. Standing up, moving around, I feel faint after a few minutes. It really, really affects me. I've had really bad migraines, and actually I did end up having a seizure yesterday. If you know about my current health conditions, the lung damage from long COVID is my biggest ongoing problem. I also have a seizure disorder that I developed again because of the long COVID. And kind of my goalpost for getting back to work, getting my driver's license back, everything like that, is going 3 months without a seizure. So every time I have a seizure, it sets that goalpost back 3 months. So yesterday it was really, really hot in here, really humid. I had a really bad migraine. I started to feel a seizure coming on, and I did all of my preventative measures. I went to lay down. I had ice, and I had Tylenol and all this stuff. And as I was laying down and as I was calming down and I could feel my body start to like kind of relax, someone set off a firework outside, and that spike of adrenaline, I guess, just pushed me over the edge and I had a seizure. It was really unfortunate and really uncomfortable. Victoria Day was 2 days ago, so there's lots of fireworks that night. So that night I was fine because I was kind of expecting the fireworks. I think an unexpected firework at 3 o'clock in the afternoon while I was trying not to have a seizure was just, it was one step too many. And I ended up having a small seizure. I was okay. I was laying down in my bed, so I didn't fall. I didn't hit myself on anything. It was probably the best place to have a seizure because I was surrounded by nice, warm, soft stuff. And obviously I have Toot and the cats to take care of me afterwards. So it wasn't fun, but it happened. I did have an MRI recently, just trying to figure out like if there is a neurological reason for the seizures. The MRI came back showing a little bit of pressure, so I went to have an eye exam, which will confirm the pressure or the swelling around the optic nerve. There was none. My optic nerve totally clear, which is great news because it means that the MRI was clean. So my brain is functioning more or less fine, physically anyways. So that was a big relief, but that was like 2 weeks of testing and stress and waiting and more testing and more stress and more waiting. But I did get an eye exam, which was great. My eyes have gotten worse, so I do need new glasses. I have really bad vision. I've always had really bad vision. You know the big like eye chart that they put up and how the top line is a giant E? So I had my glasses off and she asked me what I saw. I didn't realize I was looking at the eye chart, and I saw 4 blurry horizontal lines. So that's what I said. I saw 4 horizontal lines. And she goes, "Does it kind of look like an E?" And I said, "No." I couldn't see the E. The E. That's how bad my eyes are. So I do need new glasses. However, there is no swelling around my optic nerve, and there appears to be no swelling in my brain. So we're good. Toot also had an MRI. She's had a few MRIs actually of her shoulder. I wasn't going to mention this on the podcast, but we've been joking about it in streams, so I'll just mention it quickly. She's been having pain in her shoulder for the last couple of years, and we kind of couldn't get any specialists to take us seriously until recently. The last couple of MRIs have confirmed that she does have a tear in her labrum. The labrum is kind of the soft, spongy tissue that supports the ball joint. So she has a small tear in that. So there is actually something wrong, shockingly, that she said there was something wrong. So she's doing physio for it, and in a couple of months we'll be meeting with a surgeon to see if the physio is working or if we will have to go ahead and she'll have to get surgery for that, which I'm more stressed about than she is. Like I said, I want to be transparent with you guys. This is my life. I have long COVID. My wife has fibro and apparently a torn labrum. So our day-to-day life is often a struggle, especially when compared to other people's. We enjoy our day-to-day life. We have a lot of fun. We keep each other company very well, but we do have to adapt a lot to our physical limitations. And that can be difficult, and that can be upsetting, and that can be incredibly frustrating, especially for me. As before the long COVID, so 2 years ago, I was completely healthy. I was working in a very physically strenuous job. I was totally healthy. I was a caregiver for my wife who was disabled, and now I am weaker than she is. That's difficult for me. And I miss it. I honestly miss it. But I will get back to work. Even if I can't do the job I was doing before, I can still help people in the field of healthcare, and that's what I'm looking forward to doing. So hopefully in another 3 months, I will not have had any more seizures, and I will be able to start looking for work again, and start getting back into a position where I can help people on my day-to-day basis. I mean, I help people, but you know what I mean. Okay, so on that note, let's move into community news. All right, what's been going on in the community? Well, we've had a new video, just went up last week. That was the knitting science video I referenced earlier. Seems to be really well received. People seem to enjoy that. I've got a couple ideas for future knitting science videos, because there are still more things that I can test. I can test different methods like continental versus English, flicking versus picking, that kind of thing, to see how my hands and my body reacts to that, how my shoulder reacts to that. As I get more used to using the knitting stick, I can see how my shoulder reacts to that kind of thing. As well as testing out different sizes of needles, because before what I was finding was the smaller needles were causing more pain, whereas the larger needles were causing less pain. And now that I have a wide range of straight needles, I can try a variety of sizes. That one is going to be a little bit harder to set up because I'm going to need a piece of knitting for each needle size. So, but I'm looking forward to trying that one out as well. So yeah, definitely go check that video out. It's the latest video on the channel. It's just called Knitting Science. And yeah, thank you for that. I have released 5 new patterns since the last podcast. So the 5 new patterns I have released are In a Sea of Doozers, Be a Moki, Brimstone, Clove, Viper, and The Man, the Myth, the Hare, Giorgio Tsoukalos. Now the last one is actually a freebie. So you can go to my coffee shop right now, download Giorgio for no money. So stitch him up, share it on social media, and then tag Giorgio Tsoukalos at Tsoukalos on Instagram so that he and I may become best friends. Thank you. So speaking of the shops, this is the other big announcement that I have. I'm going to be talking about the financial side of being a content creator for just a short amount of time. If this makes you uncomfortable, feel free to skip to the end. It's uncomfortable for me, but I want to be 100% transparent with my community. So this is just some info dumps. So I am a small content creator. You can see my number of subs on YouTube right now is right around 300. I have about 170 followers on Twitch. I'm not a large content creator. I don't make much money from content creation. In fact, on YouTube, I make $0. On Twitch, I make about $30 a month. On Etsy, I make about $30 a month. That's it. I don't make very much money from doing this, but I have an amazing supportive community, and I know that they want to find different ways to support me. So this is uncomfortable for me, so I don't know where to start. So if you want to support the Cozy DH as a channel, as a pattern designer, as a content creator, the best way you can do that is by subscribing, talking about us to your friends, bringing new people into the community, and being active in the community. That's it. If someone sees a video with a ton of comments and we're talking back and forth, our Discord community is so awesome. It's a small group of people, but we're very chatty, and that draws people in, that brings people in. So just hanging out with us, liking, following, subscribing, All of that is the best way that you can help us without spending a single cent. And I truly love and appreciate all of you. If you would like to support us financially, there are a few ways that you can do that. So we have an Etsy store and a Twitch channel. The Twitch channel you can subscribe to. If you have Amazon Prime, you actually get a free subscription on Twitch if you connect your accounts. So that, again, is another $0 way if you already have an Amazon Prime account. On Twitch, any subscriptions or bits or tips, Twitch takes 50% of what you pay, and I receive the other 50%. On Etsy, they have their own payment structure. It's about 20% that Etsy takes and 80% that I take. I have set up a coffee shop. Coffee is another platform where you can support creators. On this platform, you can purchase my patterns. You can download free patterns. I have 3 free patterns available right now, 1 cross stitch and 2 knitting patterns. You can, did I ever say purchase patterns? You can purchase patterns. You can do a one-time monetary donation, or you can set up a monthly membership payment. I do not have monthly memberships set up at the moment with like tiers and rewards as you might see on Patreon. It's something that I might consider in the future as the community grows, but right now I just don't have that. However, if you would still like to give me money on a monthly basis, you can set up your own membership for however much you like. A couple of people in the community have already done that, which is amazing. And I am so appreciative of you guys for doing that. And someone did it without me even talking about it, which is how I found out that you could do it. So thank you. Just thank you. So Coffee, they take 5% of all transactions. PayPal takes a further 2% of all transactions. Coffee doesn't take any money from donations or memberships. They only take the 5% from the shop sales. So if you donate or buy something through Coffee, if you donate through Coffee, I get all of the money minus 2%. If you buy something through Coffee, I get all of the money minus 7%. So you can see that the coffee shop is the best way to support us with you spending the least amount of money, if that makes sense. The Etsy shop is still going to stay up because Etsy is just a bigger platform. It's easier to be discovered. Whereas Coffee, I kind of direct people there. So definitely go check us out on Coffee. You can follow, you can subscribe there. You'll get notified whenever a new product goes live, whenever I do a new post, anything like that. And yeah, but like I said, in order to enjoy the content, you have to do nothing at all. You don't have to click any buttons. You don't have to spend any money. Just you being here watching the videos, watching the live streams is amazing. And I appreciate all of you for doing that. Okay. So where does the money that you give me go? Money's really tight right now because I'm not working. All of the money that we make through Twitch and Etsy and Coffee, I make no money through YouTube just yet. But all of the money that I make through content creation goes towards animal care. We were able to purchase antibiotics for Bella at her last vet visit, thanks to your support. We buy fresh fruit on a weekly basis for Pow, the tortoise. We actually were just able to do a larger order. We got new hides for Sandy because he is outgrowing his old hides and he's starting to get stuck in them. So we got new hides for Sandy. We got new scratch houses for the cats, stuff like that. That's where your money is going towards. And we appreciate it and the babies appreciate it. Okay, so money talk over. All right, last thing I want to touch on is the suggestion box. The suggestion box is now live. So this is just a really simple Google form. It's linked in the description of this video. It's going to be linked in the description of every video. And it's just a place where you can give me your suggestions. If you like the videos and you'd like to see a video on a specific topic, pop it in the suggestion box. If you like my cross-stitch designs and you'd like to see a specific design, you have an idea like, oh, you're really into Dark Side Detective and you want one of Dooley, pop it in the suggestion box. If you love watching the live streams and you have a great idea for a theme or an activity we can do with the community on stream, pop it in the suggestion box. I might not use all of the suggestions, but I definitely welcome all of the suggestions. This is a fantastic community, and I absolutely adore all the people who are a part of it. This is going to be a very, very schmoopy end to the video. And also, I've been recording for almost an hour. More than an hour. I've been recording more than an hour. This video is going to be almost an hour. So, with that, check out the coffee shop. Check out the suggestion box. Check out the designers listed below. Check out our Discord, which is a fantastic hopping place. And that's going to be it for this episode of the Cozycast. Right about now, you should see some buttons popping up around my face. This one right here, you will subscribe to the channel, and one of these you'll go to another one of the Cozycasts or another video for you to watch. In the meantime, my friends, I will see you in the live streams, I'll see you in the coffee shop, I'll see you in the Discord, but most of all, I will see you in my heart. All right. Bye, guys. Bye.